Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I will talk about the Suneater series today by Christopher Ruocchio and 7 reasons for reading this series. And I think why you should do that. It's very much worth your time to do that, and um, you will get both entertained, but you will also get more knowledge about spirituality and philosophy, especially from a Western perspective. So I really advise you to read this. But why? If you have no idea what the Suneater series is, I will just tell you briefly. It's about Hadrian Marlowe. He's part of the nobility and an important family in the Suneater universe. Um, we already know from the beginning that everything will end in catastrophe for Hadrian Marlowe. It's said on the back of the book that Hadrian Marlowe will be re- remembered as a monster, the devil who destroyed a son, casually annihilating 4 billion human lives, even the emperor himself, against imperial orders. But Hadrian, the main character, Hadrian, was not a hero. He was not a monster. He was not even a soldier. This is an account that is Hadrian Marlowe's own account, own interpretation of what happened. Um, and there are official accounts in the Suneater universe that he, I think, does not believe are true. So he has written this Suneater series. So it's a great focus on one character, and that is Hadrian Marlowe. I've had a lot of time. I'm currently reading the series. I've read 3.5 books. I will tell you why it's a half. This is the first one, Empire of Silence. Looks like this. There are also other editions. I will show you them later in another video. The first book is Empire of Silence. Looks like this. I think the artwork is great. Then we have the second book, Howling Dark. Looks like this. And then we have a third book, Demon in White. I've just finished Demon in White. Extremely good, I think, and I will review it later on the channel, probably next week. And then there is a novella. It's called The Lesser Devil, and it's about Hadrian Marlowe's brother, Crispin. Safe to say, he has, family relationships that are a bit tense, and there is a lot of rivalry there. So usually we read it from Hadrian Marlowe's perspective, but in this novella we read it from his brother, Crispin. That is an interesting take by Christopher Ruocchio, the author. Now I've just started the fourth book, The Kingdoms of Death. Just started. And I would like to give you a few reasons to read this series. It's ongoing, and the last book is not released yet. It will be released this year. I also want to tell you that there are more books that you can read after Kingdoms of Death, or you should read if you want to follow the series. It's Ashes of Man and Disquiet Gods, and then the last book, Shadows Upon Time, will be released this autumn or this winter, depending on where you live in the world, I suppose. And the first reason to read Suneater is that it's entertaining, as I probably mentioned a bit in the beginning of the video. It's very cinematic. I think you can really. I usually don't like action scenes, not so much at least. I think they usually are dragging a bit, and yeah, it's not the thing that I read books for. But Ruocchio has very nice prose, and he's a very nice way to write action scenes that feels like you can really picture them and I would say it feels like a movie, Dune or Star Wars, for example. And it also feels a lot like a video game, Mass Effect, if you know that. I think you got get a lot of Mass Effect feelings and vibes in the Suneater series. Um, I also think that as a second reason that he is very skilled in without putting out lore dumps, explaining philosophical and spiritual themes. The thing in Sun Eater is that he does that primarily through having Earth as a, you could say, backdrop, because people here, it's many thousand of years since people have been on Earth, but there are still cultural um, shards or pieces left. It can have to do with religion. There are a few religions that are preserved around the insanitary universe. One such group are the Catholic group, for example, and there are Hindu groups and Buddhist groups, for example. And there is also a memory, a collective memory of ancient Rome and ancient Greece. So when Ruocchio writes, he refers to that, and sometimes the characters does that as well. Um, and this is done, I think, very skillfully, almost like he shakes up the reader a bit because you have a reference point, you could say. And then there is the lore in the Sun Eater, of course, and I really enjoy that. This is, of course, science fiction that is quite close to fantasy in a way. And this is from the first book, so if you there is no spoilers here, I would say. There is a lexicon in the end of almost every book in the Sun Eater series, and there you have, like you have in many books nowadays, a an index, different words, what they mean, and you can read about different planets. You can read about different houses because there are rivaling families, rivaling houses, of course, in this sci-fi universe. Nothing strange if you're into sci-fi. Some people refer to this as, especially the first book being very Dune-like. I've read Dune as well. I can see why people are saying that, but I don't think the connection is so obvious. And especially when you come further into the books, I think even in Empire of Silence, you will probably realize that Ruocchio and the Sonic series, it's its own thing. It's something very different, I would say. With that said, I have only read Dune. I haven't read Dune Messiah and so on. So if you have another perspective on that, please write in the comments below. And if it's like so, maybe that's not a negative thing. I know that Ruocchio, because he has been interviewed here several times on the channel, says that these books communicates with Dune. That is something I really would like to explore later during my readings. If you know in which way this book communicates with Dune, please comment if you want to add something to that, of course, without spoiling things, of course, because this is a video to try to make you interested to read the series. The book has also a theme of family relations. Tense relationships, especially between Hadrian and his brother Crispin, um, because Hadrian doesn't want to follow in the expected ways of tradition, so he finds his own way. There is this ongoing conflict in the Sun Eater universe between the Empire, you could say, and an alien race called Sin, and they are in general depicted as extremely evil. Hadrian, however, thinks maybe there is a way to make peace, so that is a big part of when you start to read Empire, the Sun Eater and Empire of Silence, and further on, he's peace making attempts. So he goes another way, and he has another father figure, a role model in a, you could say, teacher, um, Gibson, and so family and the complications of family relationships is in Suneater, and also the conflicts between the brothers, and it focuses a lot on genetics, and because they are genetically manipulated, especially the people from the noble classes. So that is a perspective of this book as well, that I think relates to family in a way, and bloodline, etc. I think I mean Hadrian himself makes, because he breaks tradition, he makes his own journey, like an reversed class journey, you know, coming from the upper class of the nobility, and then gets the experience of living in the lower ranks of society. So I think that's an interesting reason for reading it too. It has to do about class in a way. Then we have a fourth reason, that is lore. I'm lore heavy, as you know, and this is maybe not so lore heavy, but it's a lore is skillfully written, as I've told you before. But apart from, you know, lore about the world, there is also focus on language. A bit Tolkien inspired in a way, I would say. Language is a big part of this. I don't want to reveal how, but um, and I think academic studies as well. So which contributes lore as well. There is a lot. People are scientists in this book, for example, which are very interesting, I would say. The fifth reason is prose. Writing is beautiful, and I think that it can write in so many different ways. Sometimes it feels like, as I said, extremely action-packed and entertaining, and like a sci-fi movie. And sometimes because Hadrian is very introvert, so he reflects a lot on his choices and what he should have done, or what he and all the other choices he make. But and the prose, the varied prose, I think, contributes to that. This is not Ericksonian. People who follow the channel knows I'm a big fan of Malasan Book of the Fallen. This is very, very different. I mean, it's a one point of view character. It's not lore dumps. I don't say that in a negative way, and it's not these philosophical musings like Erickson writes it. But there is still a lot of that, but in a more efficient way, you could say. A sixth reason is to read it because of the moral questions it raises, or issues. It deals with genetics, for example. It deals with class. It deals with nostalgia to Earth, and what that makes with people and how it affects society. It's about tradition. I mean, it's called a chantry. You could say a religious group, or the religious order of the Suneater universe. Christopher Ruocchio is a Catholic, as I understand it, and I understand he has a strong faith. I'm not so well versed in Catholicism. I'm raised as a small child Protestant Christian, and but I believe that there is a lot of Catholicism in this book in different ways. If you know more about that, please comment as well. I think this explores philosophy and spirituality from a Western perspective, and I think that's interesting. As well as, you know, I highlight often the, you could say, Eastern philosophies and religions like Hinduism and Buddhism. Um, this is obviously has roots in Western tradition that is very interesting, good, I think, and adds a depth both to my channel and both to my knowledge, and also both to your reader knowledge as well. I think it's important to take part of different ideas, philosophies, religions, and so on. And this is a great way to do that. The last theme is whom to trust, because this is Hadrian's account. But can we believe him? I'm not sure yet. I doubt. I can feel very critical. I can become very annoyed. I become sad or angry about what Hadrian chooses to do. But we don't know. We don't know. If you have read more than me, maybe you know more. But I think that's one of the highlights of reading this book, that we don't know what is the truth. I mean, that only that is an important theme that is timeless, I would say. Can we trust the story? Can we trust Hadrian? Who is telling the story? Where is Ruocchio? He has written it, of course, but where is he? How much does he affect the story in the sense that Hadrian is the point of view character? So, a few reasons for reading this. I am enjoying it a lot. There are two conversations with Christopher Ruocchio on the channel, and I have a chat with Samwise, another booktuber, where we talk about the Lesser Devil. So if you've read it, please check that out. I also wanted to show you some artwork from other editions I have of the Suneater. And this is the broken binding editions, and I have no membership on Broken Binding now, but I've been buying some books there. That's another story. I can tell you about that later if you want to. This is the cover art of the first book, Empire of Silence. Looks very nice. And then you have the inside, looks like this. I think it's cool artwork. I think that adds to the immersion. If you don't want to have your totally own opinion on how everything looks, because that's unique, I think, with books, that every reader gets their own picture. When you do artwork like this, maybe that will spoil a few things for you, and maybe it will damage your imagination. And I showed you before, but this is the Kingdom of Death. This is Daw Books. I think they were the original publishers of the Suneater series, and they will still publish a few things. I think this is nice. Tell me your thoughts on the Suneater. Do you think it's worth investing your time with this series? Yes or no? If not, why? Do you have other reasons for reading Suneater? I'm curious to know that. And I'm also curious if you're interested to join me on some talks about the Suneater series. Please tell me if you are interested in doing that, of course. This is the idea here is to create a very small, though, but still a community where people like us, we have similar interests, read or play games or video games or play board games, for example, that we can connect to each other. So if you are really interested in that, please tell me. That might be an interesting thing to do, maybe. So with that, it's Friday here in Sweden. It's very warm at the moment. Summer finally came. Yeah, Suneater has a bit of a Starfield vibe, I would say. And I will release a few videos this weekend, so look out for that and have a heads up for checking in what's happening on the channel. I also hope you heard me well, because my microphone broke, and I'm going to buy a new microphone. And so if you haven't heard me so well, if you're still here, please raise the volume If you've heard me, please tell me if this microphone works. But still, I will get a new one, and with that also try to improve the recordings a bit as well. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and until next time, have a great day. Bye.